Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we got an article about Bleacher Report titled One Prediction for Every Team in the 2020 NBA Free Agency. So I've got to give you guys like my true, honest opinion about what free agency is going to be like. For one, we don't even know when it's going to be because I'm hearing the NBA season ain't going to start till next Christmas, which... bro, that's like 7 months away, man. That's so far away. But in all reality, you know, obviously teams that weren't where they expected to be at the point and when the NBA season shut down, like they're obviously going to be making moves. But I do think the top dogs of the NBA, they're probably just going to, you know, might make like some minor stuff here and there, but I don't really see any like big names being traded around just because they didn't really get to see like how things finished off. So this is an article here by Zach Buckley, though. We're going to check it out, see if we agree or disagree with the assumptions right here, and just kind of go from there, man. Let's get to it. So the first one we got, Atlanta Hawks. John Collins gets a non-max extension. So yeah, it's going to be interesting because, you know, a max extension in general is kind of assuming that that player you are giving it to can be a top 2 player on a championship contending team. And obviously they got Trae Young, who's going to get a supermax contract eventually. So John Collins is really good. He's a really good player. I see him more as a third option though on a really good team. So yeah, I don't really think he's necessarily really worth the max contract extension, but definitely, like, you know, if he can get paid like $5-6 million less than that, that's definitely a really good situation for the Atlanta Hawks. It's just a matter of, you know, if he wants that money with this team or if he doesn't accept it and, you know, kind of takes his talents elsewhere eventually. Next up, we got the Boston Celtics. Gordon Hayward picks up player options. Yeah, it's worth like what, like $30-something million. I definitely don't see him getting a contract like that ever again. Not that he doesn't deserve it, but I mean, obviously, you know, since the injury, he's definitely shown glimpses of his all-star self, getting better each and every single game. But, you know, it's just a matter of, like I said before, like, is this somebody you want to pay a max contract to? So he's going to get his money while he can. I don't really blame him. Then, you know, beyond that, I do see him getting around like $15 million this season. It's kind of like the realm where I would pay him at least. All right, next we got Brooklyn Nets. Joe Harris gets paid. I mean, yes, a three-point specialist that can play off ball. That's exactly what you want, you know, in the NBA today. There will be some sort of contending team out there that will pay Joe Harris a good amount of money. Next up, we got the Charlotte Hornets. Make max offer to Brandon Ingram. Yeah, I don't think he's going to go there. I think that if he does get the max offer, he's going to end up getting it from the Pelicans because obviously he's going to be a restricted free agent, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, he's going to get that from them. And yeah, he'll be back on the Pelicans, no doubt. I don't have any like question whatsoever. There's no reason why he should leave that team. It's the perfect situation for him. Next, we got the Chicago Bulls. Otto Porter takes player option. Yeah, once again, a guy that... you know, I don't want to say Otto Porter's overrated because, you know, if you're an overpaid player, that does not make you a bad player necessarily. But Otto Porter definitely got a large contract before he really deserved it. You know, he's not going to get that type of contract ever again, so there's no reason why he shouldn't accept it. Plus, he's actually not bad for the Bulls when healthy, so it's another season just to kind of see like how he does with that team if it's a good fit going forward. Next, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. Andre Drummond stays put. Yes, also as a player option worth like $30-ish million. Let's be honest, like Andre Drummond is a good player, but that type of center is not really utilized all that much anymore in the you know, today's NBA. At least not to the extent where you're going to pay a guy $32 million a season, right? Like he's not going to get a max contract. He's going to get a contract similar to Clint Capella. So obviously, the young blood's got to get his money while he can. And yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, the Cleveland Cavaliers, do I think it's a good long-term fit? You know, it's like a player, especially if Darius Garland and Colin Sexton continue to improve as players. You know, you got something going on there, I guess, but only if the price is right. Only if the price is right. I will not pay Andre Drummond a max contract. Next, we got the Dallas Mavericks. Tim Hardaway Jr. declines option, inks new deal. He definitely had probably one of his better seasons, not his best season last year for the Dallas Mavericks. It feels weird saying last year. This season that we're currently in that's suspended, right? Like he's played great for the Dallas Mavericks. I think he got roughly, what was it, like $18 million, something like that, a few seasons back. I think it was from the New York Knicks. So yeah, I don't know if he's quite worth that. I don't know if I would pay him that, but from Tim Hardaway's mindset, it's like he's better off signing like a 3 to 4 year extension type of deal worth like $14 million as opposed to taking a risk that he falls off a little bit next season and he doesn't get as good as, a good long-term deal out of that, right? So it's better to go for the long-term deal than just like the short-term, $18, $19 million, which he can definitely get with his option. Next up, we got the Denver Nuggets. Jerami Grant stays, Paul Millsap goes. Yes, Paul Millsap, as good of a player as he's been his entire career, he just doesn't really fit into the long scope plan of the Denver Nuggets. And that being said, I could see Jerami Grant being a guy that you insert into Paul Millsap's spot, and he can be the same type of guy. Jerami Grant, I think, has really high defensive capabilities. And as far as offensively, Paul Millsap's always been pretty solid. I think Jerami Grant can even go another tier as a player with his athleticism, his three-point shot, so that should be nice to see. But ultimately speaking, I would actually, use Jerami Grant off the bench, and I think Michael Porter should start at the 4. He's 6'10". I just don't think he works out so much at small forward. I think Michael Porter is better off playing the 4 spot throughout his entire NBA career. It's just kind of like the shiftiness of that position now. So, Paul Millsap, he's not going to retire. He'll probably sign with a big-time, contender and try to go for a championship. Not saying the Denver Nuggets can't be that, but I could see him going to like a Lakers or like a Boston Celtics type of team. Detroit Pistons. Christian Wood departs. This one makes me so sad to even think about because, Christian Wood has jumped from so many NBA teams, and finally, he went to the Detroit Pistons. He was given a chance there, eventually started when Andre Drummond was traded away. He made the most of it. That's the only reason I could see Christian Wood staying, though, is just because maybe hoping that, the Pistons were loyal to him, giving him a chance, giving him a contract and stuff. But at the same time, he also has to know that there is no really championship hopes in the near-term future, and there is going to be teams out there that is going to give Wood a lot of money. He's the perfect starter. He shoots threes, he dunks the basketball. There's plenty of teams that could use him. One prime example would be the Houston Rockets. A team like that would be willing to probably shell him out a pretty good amount of cash. So, yeah, while he does have more opportunities on the Pistons to take shots, the winning definitely isn't going to come with this team. Unfortunately, I'd say as a Pistons fan, trying to be realistic, right? Golden State Warriors, add size. I guess they got like Kevon Looney. He's fine. They have that draft pick, which they could use on James Wiseman. I don't really think they need to add size. I think they're completely fine. I guess they could go out there and sign some like basic center, but I think Kevon Looney and Marquise Chris, that is a good rotation to have. I don't really think they need to go beyond that. Next, we got the Houston Rockets spend the MLE on a shooter. Well, it ain't gonna be Christian Wood for that amount. Actually, for the MLE, I think a perfect player would be like an Aaron Baines type of guy. I think Aaron Baines fits in perfectly with the Houston Rockets. It's no longer really a small ball lineup, but it's a guy that runs the same type of offense with them that they could definitely, utilize. So, yeah, I like that quite a bit. Next up, we got the Indiana Pacers explore Myles Turner trade. Myles Turner is a very underrated player. I do think Sabonis definitely works out better at the center position. Not to mention they also got Goga, who was the rookie pick. I think it was this previous NBA draft. He's kind of cooking out there too. So he has, he's definitely like a stretch big. Myles Turner hasn't exactly became the player that I think Pacer fans have been hoping at this point. Now, there's still time. He's not like an old player or anything like that. But for $18 million and also forces opponents to play out of position, it might be a good opportunity to just kind of, see what your options are out there. Maybe trade for some younger players or, trade for some draft picks and just kind of like try something new out, right? For the Clippers, Marcus Morris Sr. stays, Montrezl Harrell goes. Montrez is going to be due a nice payday. If he does stay, I think it comes to the point where he needs to start. It's fine that he comes off the bench and everything, but I think him as a starter, if you're paying him starter money, that's definitely how you want to utilize him. But at the same time, the Clippers might look to upgrade at other spots to the point where they don't want to give Montrez a near max contract. They're cool with Zubac at the center spot and going for, maybe like a Daniel Tice or something like that. That could definitely play a similar type of role. So I do like Montrez. I would actually like to see him go to a different team and just kind of like be utilized as a main focus of the offense as a starter. But at the same time, the Clippers know what they have with him too. It's like, do they really want to let him go? Next, we got the Lakers. Anthony Davis opts out for a 3-year deal. Yeah, I will say, one of the biggest beneficiaries of the season being potentially shut down is actually the Lakers, because, if the Lakers would have got deep in the playoffs and would have ended up, not winning a championship, Anthony Davis might have actually looked to, maybe go somewhere else. Maybe he's just like, okay, LeBron's getting older, but I do think with the unknowing, and of course the Lakers still having the confidence of being able to win a championship, he doesn't want to like play around with the player option. He wants to sign a long-term deal. I think 3 years sounds about right. It sounds perfect. At that point, LeBron will be retiring, and AD can kind of decide what he wants to do from there, if he wants to stay with the Lakers and be the main piece of a rebuild, or if he wants to go to a team like the Chicago Bulls, which of course is on his bucket list. Next, we got the Grizzlies. DeAnthony Melton returns. Yeah, he's a good backup player for the team. I mean, obviously not like an exciting, outcome as far as free agency goes, but yeah, I mean, that'd be big. He's a nice player. Does a little bit of everything out there, so sure, why not, man? DeAnthony Melton has made a good name for himself on the Grizzlies. For the Miami Heat, they finally get Danilo Gallinari. Yeah, this seems like a guy that has supposed to be on this team a long time ago. He's honestly the perfect fit, guys. He gives the team floor space and a guy that can put the ball on the court. Fits in perfectly in the front court with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. So yeah, I think it definitely happens. We're all waiting on it. It's going to happen eventually, and he's going to be a solid 17, 18 point per game scorer for a few seasons for the Heat. For the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis declines the Supermax. Ooh. That's actually a really strong power move by Giannis. And, for one, you always risk injuries. So you got to think about that. Like, he might, think about that type of thing, being like if I want to be with the Bucks long term, I will sign it. But at the same time, by declining it, it does put immense pressure on the Milwaukee Bucks front office to make sure they put the right players on the team in the offseason going forward. He might be like, hey, guys, I don't want you guys to get lazy in your job, because assuming Giannis doesn't get injured, he's going to be due for a Supermax no matter what, if he declines it this season or accepts it a different season, right? So that's interesting. I actually kind of like the idea of him doing that. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, Malik Beasley gets paid. Yep, he was fine on the Denver Nuggets. Wasn't really given a good opportunity. Went to the Timberwolves, and the select sample size we've seen of him, he's been absolutely great. Him alongside D'Angelo Russell definitely gives him a nice scoring backcourt. With that being said, defensively, a little iffy, but, the guy can shoot the three-point shot, and that's a very high just priority for a lot of teams. So, yeah, I think he's going to give himself a good little payday. Probably around, $15 million, something like that. Yo, what's this? 2 years, $50 million. I don't know about all that, but hey, we'll see. Pelicans, match Brandon Ingram's max offer. Yup, no reason why they shouldn't. Originally when the Anthony Davis trade went down, a lot of people were a little skeptical, but Brandon Ingram has made that no longer a one-sided trade. That trade's been absolutely perfect for both sides. Even Lonzo Ball, too. Lonzo Ball's really found himself a good little, stretch with the Pelicans. For the New York Knicks, Carmelo Anthony returns. Y'all let me know about that one, Knicks fans. Okay, next up we got the OKC Thunder. Let Gallinari leave and shop vets. Well, I mean, we talked about this last offseason, about them potentially doing this, before the trade deadline. It never happened. I do think Gallinari leaves. As far as them shopping like Chris Paul and Steven Adams, though, I just don't really see the point. It's like they already have a good thing going with Shea. They already have 1 billion draft picks. I mean, yes, I guess if you have, the potential out there to maybe trade, Chris Paul to the Heat for a Tyler Hero and get a good play for the rebuild, sure, you do something like that. But for the time being, the OKC Thunder fans get the best of both worlds. They not only get the rebuild, the pieces, but they also get to stay competitive. And while they're not going to win a championship, it's still been a lot of fun. I mean, Chris Paul was an all-star, so I kind of lean towards trading him away, though, just because, if you could get that good young piece, but it really depends solely on what that trade package is looking like. For the Magic, Evan Fournier exercises option. I could actually see him declining it. He had a pretty solid season. He's one of the most underrated shooting guards in the entire NBA. I do think there's definitely scouts out there that realize that and realize what he can bring to a team scoring-wise. I could actually see him declining the option. Well, I guess Evan Fournier perhaps could have convinced himself to decline a $17 million option. Okay, yeah. No, I think he's going to decline it, man, just because he has a good opportunity to maybe get a good solid 3-year, $17 million per season deal. So kind of extend it, right? Depending on what team he wants to go to. For the 76ers, pursue a point guard. I don't think it's needed. I like Ben Simmons at the point guard spot. Unless you want to get a Devontae Graham, a player like that can play off of Ben Simmons. But by getting a point guard that is a natural ball handling type of guy, that takes away completely from Ben Simmons' game. You want the ball in his hands, but, if you want to go back to the old school Miami Heat big three team, when they had LeBron James be the main ball handler, and you have a Mario Chalmers out there, okay, I guess that type of offense makes sense, but I don't really think it's needed. Next up, we got the Phoenix Suns acquire an Impact 4. Kevin Love's waiting. I think we've all been waiting for that to happen. Maybe Kevin Love, a LaMarcus Aldridge, a guy like that. For the Trailblazers, Trevor Ariza stays. Hassan Whiteside goes. Yeah, there is... Think about Hassan Whiteside is that he is kind of... You know, he's a good player. But I do think he kind of is a guy that juices up his own stat line at times. And, you know, historically looking at before he got his big contract with the Miami Heat, he had a really good contract season. And then he got lazy. He's in a contract season. It really becomes fearful that he's going to get a large contract and get lazy again. I do think there's going to be a team out there that is going to offer him a lot of money. I don't think it will be the Trailblazers, who know they have Nurkic coming back. But yeah, some team is probably going to overpay for Hassan Whiteside and probably regret it. For the Sacramento Kings, Bogdan resigns. Buddy Hield is traded. Yeah, they seem to have made their choice. You know, they did give Buddy Hield the contract. He's got like $84 million for the next 4 seasons. But, you know, when they decided to put Buddy Hield on the bench as a 6th man, that is when they decided that, you know, he wasn't really a big part of the future of the team. There's a lot of teams out there that could utilize him. I really like him going to the 76ers, a team like that. But, yeah, they seem to have made their choice. For the San Antonio Spurs, DeMar DeRozan option. This is another guy that is probably not going to get a large contract going forward. I will not walk away from $28 million. He can accept the player option and then get traded away. But at the same time, like, you know, he's not going to have a lot of trade value being on a 1-year deal. But yeah, DeMar DeRozan, after this $28 million, you're probably looking at roughly like a $15 to maybe a $20 million per season type of players. So I actually see him eventually going to a contender and kind of playing like the Iguodala role, where he comes off the bench as just a really extremely valuable 6 man. I think that's kind of what the future holds for DeMar DeRozan. Unfortunately for him, though, because he's really good. Next up, we got the Toronto Raptors. Fred VanVleet prices way out. No, he's going to stay with the Raptors. There is no way in hell they are going to let go of Fred VanVleet. They're going to pay this man his money. Kyle Lowry only has so many years left. He's getting older. That's nothing against Kyle Lowry, but Fred VanVleet instantly gives them their starting point guard for the next 5, 6, 7 seasons. And a lot of guys that lose an all-star caliber point guard like a Kyle Lowry, they just don't recover from that very quickly. So there's no way they are going to allow this great opportunity to walk away from them. Next, we got the Utah Jazz. Jordan Clarkson stays. Yeah, ever since he went on the Jazz, I mean, he's really helped turn that team around even better. He's found himself a nice little home there, so no reason to get rid of him. And then finally, the Washington Wizards, Davis Bertans doubles a salary in DC. Yeah, when you become one of the best shooting big guys in the NBA, you get paid like it. And he definitely is warranted of the money. Now, does he do with the Washington Wizards? I could see him going to a different team, but at the same time, you know, if the Wizards want to pay him the money, sure, why not? I mean, he's obviously found a system that works out for him, so why not sign the established contract with the team that you've been good on? But yes, guys, that's all we got for today's video. If there's any other videos you guys want me to react to or anything like that, send them to me on Twitter at CrispyFlakes2K. Thank you all so much for watching, and peace out, my friends.